students, and welcome to today's live Ielts class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. This is the capital city of our province of British Columbia. I hope that all of you are having an awesome weekend so far. I hope you're enjoying every moment of life, and good for you being here on the weekend to learn English and to learn for Ielts. Welcome Harry Jot, Tind, Arbind, Anita, Tsayangkip, Nam Tran, Mansoor, Akira. Nice to see so many students in the class. Again, Hesti, welcome to our group of members. Students, in this class we are looking at Ielts speaking section part 3. And this speaking section part 3 will be about art and artwork. If you like art, that's fantastic. If you're not a big artist or a big fan of artwork, then all the more reason to participate in this class, because it's easier to talk about topics that you're familiar with. It's more challenging to talk about topics that are not your cup of tea, that you're not familiar with. So you should definitely practice talking about topics that might not be close to home, that might not be familiar for you for your Ielts exam, because you never know what topic you might get for part 2 and part 3, and you cannot change the topic of the questions. Okay, so you're stuck with what you get. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic Ielts, visit us there. For general Ielts, please visit us at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that we use for these live classes. We use the textbooks. I reference the videos. So we will use aehelp.com today to talk to students. The websites look like this. This is the academic Ielts website here at aehelp.com. Just click this big red button that's right above my head to join our premium Ielts package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's worth it. It doesn't cost much at all. And we are an official IDP British Council partner. We are a test registration center in many countries, and I'm a certified British Council agent. So you're in great hands with us. Again, we use these websites all the time, and you can use this discount code, which is IELTS 10 for a 10% discount on the premium package. So there you go, a little bit of extra savings there for you. That's yeah, a good idea. And we will use aehelp.com today for speaking. gieltshelp.com, our general Ielts website. It's the green background. Click that big red button there to join the premium package. Again, one-time payment, lifetime access. So you are in great hands with us for your Ielts preparation. Students, if you have questions, send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com, and definitely check out our newest video, speaking video, which we just released a few hours ago. It's really good. Hopefully some of you already saw it. Has anybody seen it who's in the class right now? The newest video? It's with a Brazilian candidate from Rio de Janeiro. And that video, I just put the link in the chat. It shows you basically question by question what you should do and what you should not do. So question by question through the entire interview. It's a 20-minute interview. So really, really good. Really good for part 3. We will cover some of those topics today. So definitely check that out. Okay. I'm just checking the chat to see if anybody's like, yeah, I saw the video, it was great, or yeah, I saw the video, it was horrible. One of the two. I like honesty. Tomorrow we will have a light hall class. That light hall class is free, and you have to go to Light Hall to register for that class. So There we go. That's the light hall class for tomorrow. David, no, we don't go to every country where the candidate's from, but some of our videos are in different countries. Yeah. Fateh says the video was magnificent. All right, Fateh, thank you for that feedback. If somebody thinks it could be better or can be improved, I encourage you to send me an email. We love to hear both positive and negative feedback. Negative feedback helps us improve, so it's good. Okay, everyone. Ielts speaking part 3, the challenging part of the Ielts speaking interview. Ielts speaking interview, it's 12 to 15 minutes long. Speaking part 3 is the last part, and it takes about 5 minutes, 6 minutes for speaking part 3. So... and that's where basically the examiner decides, is this candidate truly a band 9 or are they a band 8 or a band 7? In fact, in the video that we just released with this Brazilian candidate, you can see that she does a really good job in part 1 and a pretty good job in part 2, but she struggles in part 3, and that's actually where she loses some of her marks to end up at that band 7. So the important tip, and you see this tip in the video as well, is for part 3, you must remain confident and calm. Okay. Now, part 3 is challenging because the questions tend to be a bit more challenging. They're more specific. They require more detailed information. So my first tip for you to get a good band and to do a good job in part 3 is no, Fateh, don't go for a partial opinion. Okay, I explained that actually in the video that we posted too. So my first tip, going back to this first tip, is use the question in your answer to gain more time for thinking and to show good fluency and accuracy. Okay, what do I mean? I'll show you. So imagine that I am your examiner, and basically the examiner will say, that is the end of part 2. Now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you some more questions related to your response in the topic of part 2. Let's talk about art and value. What makes a work of art valuable? Okay, so that's the first question there. Now, use the question in your answer. So, and in the beginning, you don't even need to paraphrase, just use the words from the question. So, a work of art is considered valuable when it is a masterpiece. I mean that it is created with a lot of skill and effort. It is valuable when it shows a powerful message and emotion. A good example is the Mona Lisa, which has a kind of strange smile and is worth millions of dollars. Okay, so how do I build those ideas? How do I build that fluency? By using the question that the examiner is asking me. What makes a work of art valuable? A work of art is considered valuable when it is a masterpiece. Okay, and you can paraphrase if you want, like you can say a work of art is considered to be worth a lot of money when it is created with a lot of skill and effort. But if you can't think of other words or synonyms, then just use the question. Okay, you can still get a great score if you do that. All right. All right, so make sure to use the question in your answer. Give a full sentence answer, explanation, and think of examples. Okay, so give a full sentence answer with explanations and often including examples. Okay, super important. So that's what you want to do. And then you will build good fluency. You will have good ideas. You don't need to rush. Okay, we're working on an amazing video for you for next week for the channel where you will see a Band 9 candidate who does exactly that. They don't speak too fast, but they speak very clearly and with a lot of energy, and you're going to see how that creates really great answers. Okay, so you don't need to speak fast. Okay. All right. Mittal, I am doing great. Thank you for asking. And let's get into some live IELTS speaking, because here we have Akira and Anahita, and they're answering this question in the chat. So this is what Akira is writing. Akira writes, a work of art will be remarkable. It's not remarkable, Akira. This is why I want you to use the question. Remarkable and valuable are not the same idea. It will be valuable. Valuable means worth a lot. Okay. When the viewer understands the feelings of the artist when looking at the painting, and he is a master of his work. Okay, what do you mean? Explain it. Give me an example, Akira. All right. Anahita says the real meaning of anything that the artist wants to deliver to the people makes the work of art important, as there are paintings which have deep and coherent meaning. Anahita, what do you mean? Examples, I think, here are very good to include, because otherwise it's hard to kind of understand what we're talking about. Yagna says, according to me, there are 2 points which can make art valuable. First, the person that made it, and the second is uniqueness. This eventually gives the recognition to the art, which increases its value. Yagna, that's a very nice answer. Don't use the word things, okay? Replace it with a better word like points or criteria, okay? Always find that better word. Hi, Amrit. All right. Now we're rolling. Now I see lots of answers coming into the chat, and that is fantastic, because that means many of you are ready to speak. And that's what we're going to do in today's class and in tomorrow's class in Light Hall. We're going to do a lot of interaction with students, a lot of speaking. So this is what you do to volunteer for speaking. You're actually going to have a chance to speak to me right now, and I will give you a band score estimate. So I will let you know the band level of your answer or your answers. And then I will tell you what you can do to improve those scores and those answers. And we might even get a little bit of repetition and practice in there. So the first step is to go to our website, aehelp.com. You cannot actually talk to me through YouTube. You can only type and chat. Okay. Just please do not spam the chat. Okay, so let's go to the website, aehelp.com, and then you can volunteer. So I'll show you how. Okay, so this is aehelp.com, and this is free. You can do this for free. You don't need to panic and go, oh, this is where I have to pay. No, you don't have to pay if you don't want to. But if you're smart and you want to get all of our materials, then definitely get the premium course. So go to aehelp.com. Okay. Once you're in aehelp.com, if you do not have an account, you can register a free account with this green button. Okay, you just need your email and your name. A green button that's right behind my head there, right there. If you're like, hey, whatever, this doesn't cost much money, I'm just going to get all of their materials, then you can click that big red button and register and purchase. Why not? And then you get into your My Student account. You will actually see that My Student account at the top there. Okay, and in your My Student account, you have this student partner speaking right there. That's above my head. You can talk to other IELTS students for free anytime. Okay. So that's where you want to go. You want to click on that. Okay. And by the way, I said this to you the last class. In some countries, you can now register for the IDP online test at home. All you have to do is click this red button. You can register for the real IELTS, official IELTS exam. As I said to you, we are partners with IDP, and you can register for a new type of IDP exam. It's not available in every country yet, so if you do not see that button, it's because it's not available in your country. Unless you're using a VPN, then it might be, but you have to check. In Australia, there's I think 10 or 11 countries where it's available. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. It's Australia, New Zealand. It's not in India. It's not in Canada either. The only reason I have the button is because we put it on this special account so you can see it. Okay, so but that's a really cool exam. That exam, it's a new exam by IDP, and it's computer-based exam that you do from home, and it's the full exam. It's not just the indicator replacement exam that they had during COVID. Okay, so you can do that, but right now, everyone, we are going to go to student partner speaking. Boom, right there. And when you click on that, you have to accept the terms of the chat, just like with WhatsApp or with Skype. You have to say, you know, that you can't make emergency calls with this chat, etc. And then you will find yourself in this interface here. This interface lets you chat with me and with other students, not just typing, but video and audio. Okay, right there. And then you can click on this blue envelope and send me a message. Ghazi just did that. That's why I see this one here, because Ghazi is volunteering to speak, to practice speaking. And there are a lot of very smart students who come back every class to volunteer and to practice and improve. And you can do that in the live classes, okay? So I will, oh yeah, by the way, I should say, you're looking for me, I will be, you can see me as master, okay? So you see this one weird name, that's not a name, but it just says master. When you click the blue envelope next to master and you say, I want to volunteer, I will see you come into the screen. So, let's start with Ghazi. Ghazi, you're the top of my list this beautiful, warm morning. Let me get my ears on and we'll get into some speaking part 3. So here we go. Ghazi, let me message you back to make sure your system is working and you're ready. So are you ready? I've got caps lock on. Are you ready? All right. Okay. Yes, Ghazi's ready. Here we go.
Hello, Adrian.
Good morning, Ghazi. How are you feeling today?
I'm fine. It's better than yesterday. I think the voice more clear.
Right, your voice is clear, I can tell. I'm guessing you're getting some good rest?
Yeah, rest and a lot of liquid also.
Yeah,
Tea and,
a lot of fluids, right? A lot of fluids.
yeah, fluids, yeah.
All right, Ghazi. Well, let's jump into a part 3 question here. Okay. And I respect you a lot for practicing your English even when you're feeling a bit under the weather.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let me get right into it. Let's talk about art and art value. What makes a work of art valuable?
The valuable of art comes from allocate enough time of art. Also, it comes of reflect the reality. I mean, the artist should spend many hours in order to create his art. Like my friends in the library, she spent about 2 months in order to create her painting picture.
Okay, great. Ghazi, I'm going to stop with that and just give you some really good detailed feedback. So that would be about a band 6 response. You have pretty good fluency, so you're not speaking quickly, but you're talking, and it's making sense for the most part. However, you are making grammar mistakes and some word mistakes or word form mistakes, which are decreasing the overall coherence. Let me, and I was able to type exactly what you wrote here, so let me reflect on it, and I'll show you where we can make corrections. So the question is, what makes a work of art valuable? You said the valuable of art comes from. The word form here, the correct word form is the value of art, not valuable of art.
Yeah,
Okay?
value. Yeah, the noun. Okay.
Okay, so the value of art comes from not allocate enough time, but here you need the gerund, allocating enough time. Okay, not of art, but for the art piece. Okay.
Yeah.
So the sentence, I was able to understand it, but it just wasn't accurate enough for that higher band score. So the correct sentence here, let me just read it and then repeat after me. So the value of art comes from allocating enough time to the art piece. Just repeat that sentence, Ghazi. The value of art comes from allocating enough time to the art piece.
The value of art comes from allocating enough time to the art piece.
Okay, so just like how I'm correcting you, this is what you want to do at home, Ghazi, is you want to transcribe what you say, look at the mistakes, correct it, say it again, record it on your phone again in the correct way, and then listen to it. All right, let me continue with the correction. I'll correct the full response now so that you can see it. So here we go. Also, here we have a missing subject. Also, it comes from reflecting. So obviously the gerund here is a point of concern. So also, it comes from reflecting the reality. Okay, here we want to take out the, if we're just generally saying reality. So also it comes from reflecting reality. I mean, the artist should spend many hours to create his art. Like my friend, not friends, like my friend in the library, she spent about 2 months to create her painting picture. Painting picture is repetition of words, so we just want one. Her painting of the New Brunswick, because as I know you're New Brunswick, right?
Yeah, or of the Bishop Bridge or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So the to be more specific, of the New Brunswick countryside, and she is selling it for $2,000, right? Because the concept is the valuable art piece that you're showing here. Okay. So here is the full corrected response, your response at a band 9 level. Okay, let me read the full response and then copy after me. So the value of art comes from allocating enough time to the art piece. Also, it comes from reflecting reality. I mean, the artist should spend many hours to create his art. Like my friend in the library, she spent about 2 months to create her painting of the New Brunswick countryside, and she's selling it for $2,000.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ghazi.
The value of art comes from allocating enough time to the art piece. Also, it comes from reflecting reality. I mean, the artist should spend many hours to create his art. Like my friend in the library, she spent about 2 months to create her painting of a New Brunswick countryside, and she's selling it for 2,000 crowns.
$2,000. Sorry.
2,000.
Yeah. Just 2 grand. My mistake. It should just be
Yeah.
2 grand. Grand means thousand, so 2 grand. Okay.
Oh, or 2,000.
$2,000. Yeah, exactly.
Or-
$2,000 or 2 grand. You can use informal language like 2 grand in the
Yeah.
IELTS. It's natural. Okay. All right. So Ghazi, you have now a really good idea of the structure
Yeah.
and the content of what you need to say. So now you need to focus on correcting those grammar mistakes, correcting those word form
Yeah.
mistakes, and then you will have just beautiful speaking. So so keep doing that, okay? And I'm sure that you will be successful, Ghazi, because any person who gets as sick as you did over the past week and comes to class to study has the right attitude for success. So Ghazi, I hope you have an awesome rest of your weekend in
Thank
Eastern
you.
Canada.
You too, Adrian. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and get well soon.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Bye, Ghazi. All right, that was Ghazi. Ghazi, one of our regular students from East Coast Canada. An incredible individual. Thumbs up to him for working hard even while being so sick. Pham Xuan, let's see if you're ready. Pham Xuan says, can I volunteer? Yes, you can, Pham. Yes, are you ready? So I'm just going to choose a lot of students today. I'm going to stick to kind of 1, maybe 2 questions depending. And that way we can get a lot of students to interact with me today. All right. Thank you for the thumbs up and the claps for Ghazi. Pham, let me reach out to you here. Make sure students to test your system before so you know it works. Hi, Pham.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Pham. I can hear you fairly well. I heard a little bit of wind there a second ago. How are you doing, Pham?
I'm doing great today.
Excellent.
Thank you for.
And where are you calling from?
I am from Vietnam, from Southeast Asia.
Okay. Where are you in Hanoi?
No, in Haiphong. It is right next to Hanoi, the capital.
Okay. Awesome, Pham. And why are you taking the Ielts exam?
I'm actually taking the exam a week from now, so I want to improve on my speaking skills. I think I'm still not good enough for my desired result.
Believe in yourself, Pham. That's step number 1. Believe in yourself. You are good enough and you will be good enough. Pham, why are you doing the IELTS? So what's your goal with the IELTS exam?
I'm taking this IELTS to get a certificate to enroll in a good university.
Okay. What are you going to study?
I'm planning to study in information technology.
All right. Okay. Seems to be a very popular field among the students. Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions from part 3, at least one question, and then I will give you feedback. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right. Then let's talk about art and value. Why are some works of art very expensive while some are not?
I think the price of a work of art, it depends on maybe the popularity of it. So about the meaning, I think a deeper meaning can attract audience and can raise the price up by a lot. On art also needs to be beautifully drawn so it can attract lots of audience, and the name of the artist can also be a huge factor in the the importance of the piece of art.
All right, fun. That's great. So honestly, I think your speaking is wonderful. I think you have good speaking. You should you should be proud of your speaking. You have good vocabulary. You have good grammar, and you want to work on your fluency a little bit. But I think you're speaking fluently. So I think that for this answer, you would probably get a band 7. The one place where you can definitely improve from is the content. Really pay attention to the question and stay with the question from the beginning until the end of your answer. Stay with the question. I'll show you what I mean. And students, when I'm giving volunteer advice, really pay attention because a lot of candidates make the same mistakes. Okay, so FUM has good English. You really do, FUM. You just have to pay attention a little bit more to what you're saying. And your thinking is quick. So your thinking is quick and smart. Let's look at this question again. So the question is, why are some works of art very expensive while some are not? What did you miss in your answer for this question, FUM?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
You missed a part of this answer. So you missed a part of this question. What part of the question does your answer miss, or what part of it is it missing?
Some are not.
Exactly, right? So see how the second time you looked at it, you realized, oh, wait a second, I didn't answer the second half of that question, while some are not, right? So you started with a really good answer. You said, I think the price of a work of art, and then you stopped there for a second. It was natural. You said it depends maybe on the popularity. Now, first piece of advice here, FUM, always be sure of what you're saying. So try to avoid words like maybe, because using the word maybe, it takes away the confidence, it takes away the meaning of what you're saying. So don't use the word maybe. Just say it clearly. It depends on the popularity of it and the meaning. Okay. And then you said, I think a deeper meaning can attract an audience and raise the price a lot. Okay. And then you started to talk about that it needs to be beautiful and the name of the artist. Instead of that information, you should have answered while some are not, right? So here you could have given an example, or well, we can save the example for the end, but we need to talk about why some are not, right? So on the contrary, or in contrast, right? You need a good connective here. In contrast, some artwork is not popular and it has little meaning, like a drawing of a stick man, which basically has no dollar value. Okay, so answering that second half of the question, and then you will get a great score because then you have a complete, clear, accurate answer. So when someone has good English and you have good English FUM, then you really want to make sure that you're answering the question accurately. Okay, I'm going to read this corrected response and then just copy it after me when I'm done. Okay, so here we go. I think that the price of a work of art, it depends on the popularity of it and the meaning. I think a deeper meaning can attract an audience and raise the price a lot to millions of dollars. In contrast, some artwork is not popular and it has little meaning, like a sketch of a stick man, which basically has no dollar value. Go for it, FUM. Repeat that.
So I think that the price of a work of art, it depends on the popularity of it and also the meaning, like millions of dollars. I think a deeper meaning can attract an audience and raise the price a lot. In contrast, some artwork are not popular enough and they have little meaning, like, for instance, a sketch of a stickman which has little value.
Yeah. Okay, good. Much better. So remember, answer the whole question. Stay to the question. So really focus on the question. One way that you can do that, so you have 1 week until your exam, you said. One way that you can make sure to answer these questions accurately is practice with a partner. Okay, you can use this website that you're using right now to find partners. Just make sure to keep this page open and wait for somebody to join up if you don't see someone. And then when you're practicing, practice asking the questions and answering, and then always take a minute with your partner to analyze the question and analyze the answer and think, okay, did you answer this question completely? Did I answer this question completely? And then if you agree that yes, I answered it completely, then you are going to get a great score. I bet that as long as you answer the whole question, you can even get a 7.5 is my prediction. Okay, so keep up the good studies, Pham, okay?
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Pham, for volunteering, and have a lovely rest of your evening in Vietnam. All right, that was Pham. Thumbs up to Pham for that effort. All right, moving along nicely. Kevin, let's keep it going. Good day, sir. You want to volunteer? Yes. Are you ready, Kevin? I wonder if this is Kevin Bowie. I'm not sure. Kevin Bowie is one of our regular students, but there are lots of different Kevins out there in the world. I have a good friend, Kevin, here in Victoria as well, who I haven't seen for a long time and just saw the other day. Kevin, if you're still with us, let me know. You are next on the roster. If you are still in the chat, give us a sign. There you are. Yes, I am. Love the energy. All right, Kevin.
Hello?
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Mr. Adrian. Can you hear me well from your end?
Crystal clear, Kevin. Crystal clear.
Okay.
Kevin, is this Kevin Bowie, by the way?
Yes, this is Kevin Bowie speaking.
All right. Kevin, you have taken the Ielts exam. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have taken the Ielts exam. I like at the beginning of this month. I just got the result.
Okay. How did you do?
I didn't I didn't got my I didn't get my target. So yes, I'm coming back here to see where I did wrong, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's what you do, right? That's what you do when you take the right steps. You don't get the target that you want, and then you come. I think your target is quite high, though, is it not, Kevin? Like, you're aiming for like a band 8 or something like that, aren't you?
Yes, around that region.
Okay. All right. May I ask, Kevin, what was your speaking score?
So most recently, I got 8 for my speaking. I had an 8.5 earlier, so I really don't know where I fell apart this time, sir.
So if you got 8.5 before and then you got 8 now, that's nothing to panic about. It would be strange if you got like 7 or maybe even 7.5, but if you get 8, 8.5, 9, the difference between an 8 and a 9 is extremely small, and there might not actually have anything to do with you. It might just be the examiner. Did you have a different examiner?
Yes. The last time I had my exam with IDP, and this time I registered with the British Council. But I don't think that would make a lot of. I mean, yes, the examiner would be a different person, but I mean, I heard that the same examiner, they the same examiners, they work for the two.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So an examiner could work for IDP one day and could go into a British Council office literally the next day and do the exam for students. So it doesn't matter if you're going to a British Council center or an IDP center. That has absolutely zero impact on the score, and it usually doesn't matter which country you're doing it in. So if you do the exam one day in China and the next day in Vietnam, that probably wouldn't matter either. What does have an effect, if your speaking is basically the same, there are two components that can affect your score from a band 8 to a band 8.5. So a half band difference is subjective. It doesn't mean much. The 2 points that can affect it, Kevin, one is the examiner. So no two people will mark exactly the same for the writing or the speaking section, because that's basically impossible. Okay, so having a different person marking you can have the effect. Even the same person on a different day might mark a little bit differently. And the other point that could affect that score, 8.5 to an 8 difference, are the questions. So maybe in one exam you were a bit more familiar with the questions, you were feeling a bit more energetic, and maybe in the next exam you were a bit more tired or fatigued, and maybe the questions weren't as familiar to you as the previous questions. So the questions and the examiner can shift the mark by half a band, maybe even a band, but not more than that. So 8, 8.5, that's great, Kevin. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people would be extremely happy to get that high of a score in the speaking section. What a lot of people don't know, Kevin, is even native speakers will often only score a band 7.5 in the speaking. Okay.
Oh, thank you, sir, for that pep talk. I really do. I'm really appreciative of that. But it's more like a requirement for my postgraduate, for my master's study. Yeah. So, I mean, I wish I could just stop at like 8, but I do really have to push myself a little bit further, just so that I can stand a higher chance of getting into my dream college. So
of course, you want the best score possible. And I know, Kevin, that you're a maximalist, and even your choice of vocabulary reflects that. Like you just said, thanks for that pep talk. And a lot of people might not know what that means. A pep talk means basically an encouraging or motivational speech. So Kevin, I know that you're a maximalist, so let me help you with your goals. Let me jump into a couple of these questions, and then I'll give you some feedback, okay? So here we go. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. So let's talk about art and art value. Do you believe art is a worthwhile endeavor for human beings to pursue?
Yes, I do believe that art is a worthwhile pursuit because it teaches humans. It betters humans' lives in ways that technology cannot. So one such impact is that art teaches humans to slow down, because only by doing so can one appreciate the beauty of language on book pages, like in literature, I mean. And this overall contributes to their better sense of well-being, because they are more appreciative of the little beauties in life, which is not possible for technology, because it really advocates a more action-packed and fast-paced life.
Art is displayed in publicly funded galleries and museums all over the world. Do you believe this is a positive usage of taxpayer money? Why or why not?
Wow, this is a challenging question, because so to take matter as face valued, then I would think this is a waste of money, because usually museums and galleries do not really recoup their investment on their galleries. But as I mentioned earlier, so the benefit that the one benefit that art can afford people is pleasure in life, and I think that pleasure should be open to everybody, especially the underprivileged, considering the fact that society now is becoming more expensive. Every form of entertainment now comes with a price tag. So if they also charge people with such form of entertainment, then it would be cornering them. They would be cornered. Yes. So I don't think it's a waste of money.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay.
Are you copying my answer down?
I got most of it, yeah. So I transcribed it, yeah. Yeah, I transcribed most of your answer, the key components anyway. Okay, so, you know, Kevin, I think for you, and I think a band 8 to a band 8.5 is a fair assessment. That's what I would be assessing you at for this. I would be, for these two questions, I would be assessing you closer to an 8. Obviously, these were challenging questions, right? So we're getting into some very specific questions about art. And as you probably discovered, when you have good English during the speaking section, then definitely the questions tend to get stranger and more challenging as you go along. So just out of curiosity, do you remember what the part 3 questions were in your last IELTS speaking exam?
So I got questions about volunteering. More about, I think there's a twist to the question. I think there was a twist to the question. So the question, the questions, they weren't about helping everybody, but they were about helping a child. So, yeah.
Right. So I'm not surprised that you say that. So the IELTS is considered a progressive exam, and this means that the further you go in each of the sections, the more and more challenging or difficult the material becomes. And that's also true in the speaking. So if you have high level speaking, like what you have, a band 8, then you should expect that you're going to get 1 or 2 very challenging questions, especially in part 3. So this kind of question might come up if you're talking about art value. And that's where you have to shine. So that's where you have to be a quick thinker, okay? And there is a trick to do that. So Kevin, I'm going to give you some useful advice here that you can definitely apply the next time you find yourself in this situation. So my question, let me show you with the example. So my question here was, do you believe art is a worthwhile endeavor for human beings to pursue? Okay. And you said, yes, I do believe that art is a worthwhile pursuit. So you immediately recognize that probably the correct answer here is yes. Millions of people around the world participate in art, whether it's painting, music, movies, literature. Art is very popular. So obviously there must be some value in it. Otherwise, millions of people, billions of people wouldn't be doing it, right? So you immediately recognize the yes part of it. Yes, I do believe that art is worthwhile pursuit. And then you said, because it teaches humans. So you recognize that, okay, I have to connect this and give an explanation because it teaches humans. And then you kind of got stuck, right? You're like, what does art teach humans, right? And I could feel that. I could sense that in your communication, that you're not getting stuck because of vocabulary and grammar, but you're getting stuck for ideas, right? Like you're like, wow, what would be an easy, good explanation here? What does
exactly, sir. That's right on, because so when I'm speaking, so if you recollect, and we actually did we did some practice earlier, and I remember being advised that I should simplify my answer, and I really have really taken that that advice and practice it.
And that's what you want to keep doing, because great communication is not long communication. Great communication is short, concise, precise, high-level communication, right? That's definitely what you want to do for Band 8, Band 9. So it's very important to come up with good explanations, right? Thinking about what I always tell people is think about what 9 from 10 people would say. Okay, so here the trick, and this is for everybody, okay, the trick is when you are introduced the topic of part 3, and this is the reason the examiner introduces this topic. Now, to be fair, Kevin, you would have done part 2 already in this speaking, and part 2 would have been probably something about art, And so you would have had a chance to think a little bit deeper about this topic, and so you might have more ideas and for the reasons around art, right? So the trick for sure is that when you get the topic like art and art value, then as quickly as possible you want to apply critical thinking, right? Like, what is art? Okay, art is a form of expression through music, through video, through imagery like paintings. That's art, right? And then the next question that of course you want to process in your brain, because that's going to be your answer for a lot of the questions, is why do people do art? So what is the purpose of art? Why do we do art? So simplify the questioning, the reasoning in your mind, right? Why do we do art? What is the purpose of art? And this is important because I'm sure many of the next volunteers will be using this information. So what is the purpose of art? Why do we do art? Can anybody tell me that? And I'm also looking at the chat. Kevin, what's the purpose of art?
I think your previous explanation of the definition of art has already put it very well. I also agree that it is a form of expression. So it
why do we do it though? Why do we do it?
So,
what do we express?
So I think it's more about the emotions over here. So
okay, very good. So art definitely strives to capture emotions, right? So movies, paintings, music that make us feel happy, sad, angry, those emotions. So art captures emotions. Okay, what else?
And that's for the, I think that's more for the creators. So it's more like a platform for them to, let's say if they're angry, so they take it out on the pages to
Sure.
kind of vent their anger.
Now,
and
think outside the box, Kevin. Think outside the box. So before you digress too far, because again, the Ielts isn't meant to be, you know, a thesis that's 100 pages long. It's meant to kind of stay on the surface and just kind of hit those key points. So the artist captures emotions. In the viewer, it elicits emotions. But that's not the only reason we do art. What else is the purpose of art? There is more purpose to art than simply feelings and emotions. So Amrit Paul in the chat says it's a source of money. So there's economic value. Sure. Okay, but there's more than that. Think about examples. One way to do this, Kevin, is think about examples of art.
Sorry, but I don't know if I have digressed on this point or not, but I think another reason for people doing art is that they also seek empathy, like, you know, people in their shoes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think we're still dealing with emotions. So you are still digressing further into emotions. Get away from emotions. When I say this, you and I'm sure a lot of our viewers will be like, oh yeah, of course, that's what we do with art. So there's some low-hanging fruit. There's some easy thoughts here. Okay, newbie Dark Soul has a good answer there in the chat. It captures culture and history. Would you agree, Kevin, that art is used to capture and record culture and history?
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Right? So songs reflect the way people see themselves. Paintings, movies literally capture parts of history, our past, people who were leaders in our society, people who made great change in our society. Just imagine all of those statues that we have around our cities, which are made of great leaders, and those are considered art pieces, right?
Yeah, that's
okay,
true.
So those are the low-hanging fruit. And definitely, Kevin, to get close to that 9 or to get to that band 9 in the speaking, you do have to be able to kind of identify these key parts as soon as you get the topic. So what you want to do for your practice, Kevin, going forward is take a moment when you choose a certain topic for speaking, and don't start answering the questions unless you are satisfied that you have identified the main components of that topic. So if the question of art and art value comes up, then don't start answering the questions until you're like, okay, now I know that the purpose of art is primarily to express emotions, culture, history, and now I can answer these questions effectively, right? So let me ask you this question one more time, Kevin. Do you believe art is a worthwhile endeavor for human beings to pursue?
Yes, definitely. I think art is a worthwhile pursuit because, first of all, there are hundreds of thousands of people in the world doing it to express themselves. Art is a form of expression. In addition, on top of that, so many artists also do art because they want to put food on the table, like some local artists that I know in my neighborhood.
Okay, I would simplify this further. So ask me the question, Kevin.
Okay, sure. So, Mr. Adrian, do you think that art is a worthwhile endeavor for human beings?
Yes, I absolutely believe that art is important for individuals to pursue because it's a very powerful way to express and elicit emotions. As well, it's the way that humans capture culture and history. There are thousands of paintings and movies that show our past, where we came from, like paintings of Julius Caesar and Napoleon.
Yes, that's beautiful, sir. I can literally like pick up on a few points that your delivery is. Yeah, sure. So that's outstanding. Thank you, sir.
Concise, right? So concise answer, explanation, example that hit those key points. If you ask 100 people, why do we do art? You will get the answer because it creates emotions, it's history and culture. You will get that answer a lot, right? So you need to identify that. Kevin, you're on the right track. Just keep going that direction and I'm sure you'll do great, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much again, sir, for your encouragement.
All right. Okay, Kevin, have a lovely rest of your day and we'll talk again soon. Keep coming back, keep practicing, okay?
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Bye, Kevin. So I spent a bit of time there with Kevin and you know, that's because what we were discussing is extremely important for success on the IELTS speaking. So whether you have a wealth of vocabulary, so lots of vocabulary and lots of grammar like Kevin, or if you have less vocabulary and less grammar, as long as you have the right ideas, you can still get a great score, okay? All right, I'm very curious to discover who this person is called Apple, so let's reach out to Apple and see if Apple's ready. Apple says, I'm a beginner. That's okay, Apple. Are you ready? And so, Baljit, Mimuna, I see you there. So hang in there. Let's see if Apple is still with us. And we'll reach out to Apple and ask a question. All right. Whether you're band 5 or band 9, don't worry about it. Just volunteer because it's important for everyone to hear different strategies at different levels and to get feedback, okay? Yeah, Anahita, concise means to say it in a short way. Okay. All right, Apple, I see that you're ready.
Hello.
Hi, Apple.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing good. Apple, is that your real name?
No, sir. I just made it for fun.
Right. May I have your real name?
Yes, sir. So my real name is Harpreet Singh.
Harpreet Singh. Okay, Harpreet. Good to meet you. All right, Harpreet. So why are you taking the Ielts exam?
So I am taking the Ielts exam because I want to move to abroad at the Canada to continue with my future studies.
Okay, great. So coming to Canada for studies. That's a great place to be. I'm here in Canada. Canada's a big country. Do you know where in Canada you want to go?
Yes, sir. So I am preparing for like California.
Oh, so you mean the U.S. then, California? If you're going to California, you're going to
Yes.
the U.S. Yeah, okay. Could be Canada. We'd love to take California. It's a nice part of the world. Okay.
Yes.
So Harpreet, let me ask you a question. Give me a nice full sentence answer, and then I will give you some feedback. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about aesthetic experiences. Do you know what the word aesthetic means?
No, sir.
Aesthetic means beautiful, okay? So aesthetic has anything to do with beauty and beautiful. If you see an aesthetician, it's a type of job. An aesthetician's job is to make someone look beautiful, like hair, nails, makeup, things like that. So aesthetic means beauty.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's talk about aesthetic experiences. Besides works of art, what other objects can a person have an aesthetic experience of? Okay, one more time. Besides works of art, what other objects can a person have an aesthetic experience of? I think we lost Harpreet because that ended. So Nick Hill says poetry. Okay. Poetry might be considered a work of art, but it could be an answer. The examiner is not going to judge you. Leon says the face or the body. Yeah, the face of the body is considered potentially an object of beauty. Absolutely. Kelvin says literature. Sure, again, literature might be considered art, but even then, it could be considered beauty. There we go. Jenny Dang in the chat says a landscape. So something like a lake or a mountain can be an object of beauty. 100%. Okay. All right. So yeah, Ghazi says meditation of nature. Absolutely. The environment. Beauty is all around us, right? The surroundings, nature. Mittal says food. Yeah, it could be art, but it could, you could argue that it's not really a piece of art. Nature, animals, very nice. Okay, so we lost Harpreet, but somebody else I'm sure will be excited to answer this question. Let's see if Baljit is here. Hi, Baljit. Are you ready? Baljit, you've got an advantage now with this question. If you're still there, we'll get right into it. Some of you might be wondering why I upgraded to this big red bottle. It's because it's very, very hot here in Victoria these days. It's like 30 degrees, but it feels like 50. The sun is so powerful here on the island. All right.
Hello, sir.
Hi, good evening, Baljit. How are you doing?
Good evening, sir. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. We're experiencing some very, very hot weather here in Victoria this past week, and it's staying for another week. So, but
at my side, there's like raining cats and dogs since like last 29th of July.
Since the 29th of July. Is it monsoon season right now in India?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, so you've got some monsoons. Yeah, July and August for us are the driest months. So I think all the rain that we have here in the winter, I think it goes to India and Asia in the summer. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what happens. All the rain goes there across the Pacific, right? You're on the other side of the Pacific, kind of. So, okay, Baljit, let me jump into this question. Are you ready?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. Well, then let's talk about...
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
That's a great way to be. Let's talk about aesthetic experiences. Besides works of art, what other objects can a person have an aesthetic experience of?
I think that's an interesting question. Please allow me to think about a second. Mm, I think apart from an artwork, there are certain views that person can observe in our natural environment, like the views of lakes as well as some natural mountains. Person can see the beauty of these natural objects that are given by our mother nature. Like couple of days back, I went to a neighbor city, which is a city of lakes, and I had a view of sunset in the evening, and that was exquisite, and I really enjoyed the view of this lake in the evening.
All right, that was awesome. That was a great answer, Baljeet. Very good. A little bit too much, a little bit overkill. So you want to make that more concise. Okay. So what you want to do, because I'm just afraid that a lot of examiners out there, they're in a rush. They really want to get through all the questions. So they might interrupt you if you make your answers a bit too long. It doesn't mean say less. So tell me all the information you just told me, just do it shorter. Okay. So it was good. You said, I think that's an interesting question. Please allow me to think about it for a second. Really good. That was really smart. It's a tough question. For difficult part 3 questions, it's a really good idea to buy time, especially if you need it. So you did that, and because of that, you came up with a really good answer, and I really enjoyed it. So very good strategy to buy time. Okay, so everybody paying attention here to what Baljeet did. He did 2 very important strategies. One, he said, I think that's an interesting question. Please allow me a moment to think about it for a second. And then you use the question to buy yourself even a bit more time, which was really good. You said, I think that apart from an artwork. That was really good. Yeah, so you used the question because I said besides works of art, and you paraphrased it, right? So apart from an artwork, paraphrased an essential part of the question, which was besides works of art. That was really good paraphrasing there. And then you said there are certain views that people can observe in our environment. Views is okay, but it's not the best word in this context. What do you think would be a better vocabulary here than views?
Apart from views,
there are actually 2 words that you could use here. They're kind of synonyms for views, and we use these 2 words when we're talking about nature. One comes from
landscape.
Landscapes are good. Yeah, landscapes would work. That's not what I was thinking about, but landscapes would work. Apurva Salve in the chat has the right word, and Rima has a good word as well. Scenery.
Okay.
Okay, do you know this word scenery?
Yes, sir. A beautiful view.
Yeah, exactly. A beautiful view is a scenery. A beautiful view of nature is a scenery, right? So it's a more accurate term. The other one, and we borrow this word from Spanish and Latin, we say vista. Vista is the other word. You can use that in English as well. So there is, it's not countable usually. There is a scenery that people can observe in our environment, such as natural lakes and mountains, which are regarded as beautiful.
Okay.
Very beautiful. Okay. These objects, you did a good job. Most of what you're speaking was very accurate, Baljeet. That would have been a high band answer, by the way. That would have been an easy band 8. So these objects are a gift from Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And then your example was a bit long. You can keep it much shorter. You can say, like, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a beautiful sunset on my travels, and I loved how you emphasized. You said, and it was exquisite. You actually made me believe it. Like, did you go on a trip? Did you actually see a sunset recently?
Yes, sir. I went to nearby city, a neighbor city of ours.
Yeah. Did you
And
see a beautiful sunset?
yes, sir.
Okay, I
And
believed you because you really like, and I saw it was exquisite. Like I was like, oh yeah, nice vocabulary, right? Like for lexical resource, I'm going to give you marks for using that kind of vocabulary. So like a couple of weeks ago, I saw a beautiful sunset, and it was exquisite. Okay,
yes,
let's
it
try this.
really was.
I believed you. I mean, you made me believe you. So let's try this answer again. Here we go. I think that's an interesting question. Please allow me a moment to think about it for a second. I think that apart from artwork, there is scenery that people can observe in our environment, such as natural lakes and mountains, which are regarded as very beautiful. These objects are a gift of aesthetics from Mother Nature. Like a couple of weeks ago, I saw a beautiful sunset, and it was exquisite. Okay, go for it, Baljit.
Yes. I think that's an interesting question. Please allow me a moment to think about it. Mm, I think that apart from artwork, there is scenery that people can observe in our environment, such as natural lakes and mountains, which are regarded as very beautiful. These objects are a gift of aesthetics from Mother Nature. Like a couple of weeks ago, I saw a beautiful sunset, and it was exquisite.
Very nice. That would be a band 9. Okay, that's a band 9 response to this question of, besides works of art, what other objects can a person have an aesthetic experience of? And you really gave me a very clear answer now, right? You gave an answer, you explained it, and you gave an example that made me empathetic to you. So as the examiner, if I can empathize with you, if I can think, oh yeah, I've seen a beautiful sunset, then we have expert level communication between us, and that's band 9 according to the band 9 criteria, an expert level user. It's all about content. Okay, so good job, Baljit. Very good. I'm literally seeing beautiful sunsets.
Like sir, I am facing problem with choosing the right kind of verbs.
Lots of reading. Read lots, okay? Reading helps with word choice a lot. And I don't mean just read like text messages and Twitter tweets and things like that, but like books.
I read books.
Yeah, books.
Yes, I really
books,
do
books.
that.
Okay. You're improving, Baljit, you're improving a lot, so keep it up.
Today, my goal was reading a complete book, but I didn't complete it. I
Do it
just
again
read
tomorrow.
around 50 pages of it.
That's great. That's great. And you know what? Don't give up. What I do, my trick in life is I always plan for 150%, and then sometimes I only do 90%. But if I do 90% of 150%, I'm happy. So be satisfied. Keep up the good work, Baljit. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, Baljit. That was Baljit. Baljit's awesome. He keeps coming back and practicing, and that's fantastic. Students, good job. Let's take one more. Mimuna. If you've been very patient, if you're still there, I'll give you a chance. Are you ready to give it a go? So, Mimuna, I hope that you hung in there. You hung in there for so long. If you're still here. There we go. Yes! All right. Let me reach out.
Hello?
Hi, Mimuna.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Mimuna, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Mimuna?
No, Maimuna.
It's literally like okay, Maimuna. All right, Maimuna. May I ask, where are you from?
Actually, I'm from Bangladesh, but currently I'm here in Qatar, residing here.
Okay, so you're originally from Bangladesh, but right now you're living in Qatar. All right. Yeah, I was wondering where that name might originate from, Maimuna. I probably would not have guessed Bangladesh. And what's your goal with the Ielts? What do you plan to do with the Ielts exam?
Actually, I took Ielts in 2020, but I'm thinking to take it again just because I want to try for med school again. Like I want to get transferred to med school, so I
Good for
thought
you.
maybe it might be another chance. So that's why I'm taking it.
Yeah, and if for purposes like med school and immigration, and for a lot of universities, the IELTS certificate does expire after 2 years. So,
Yes.
so if it's been past 2 years, then it might have expired already. And for med school, you have to do a lot of different exams, not just English exams, right?
No, here it's not a problem. I'm reading here. I'm studying here in Qatar University. Right now, I'm in the College of Engineering. Just I want to get transferred to College of Medicine. So I want to make sure that I get transferred. So I want to make my IELTS course a bit higher. That's what I'm
Okay.
working on.
Yeah. Yeah. And English is very important in medicine, of course, German and English. Yeah. Here in Canada and the US, there's another exam that's very challenging that med school students have to prepare for. It's called the MCAT. 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 It's also an abbreviation. It's an MCAT exam, and it's a very intense, I think it's 6 hours or 7 hours, something like that. It's a very intense exam. And then there's also like an interview exam that med students do. So, okay, well, let me, Maimuna, let me help you out a little bit with this IELTS exam. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Give me some nice full sentence answers. You've been very patient. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Okay, so we are going to continue about talking about aesthetics. Do you believe that human beings have an innate sense of beauty?
Can you help me with the word innate?
Yeah, so in the real IELTS exam, I would not be able to do that. Either you understand it or you don't. So all I can do is just go to the next question, right? But I can help you figure it out. What do you think it might mean? So if you had to guess, if I said, if you guess it right, you can have a chance to win $1 million. What would you guess it means? Do you believe that human beings have an innate sense of beauty? What do you think, from the context, what do you think innate sense might mean?
I think human beings have an innate sense of beauty. It means that they have the sense of beauty from from when they're born.
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. I don't have $1 million, unfortunately, to give to you, but you got it right. Okay, that's exactly what it means. So I can tell that you have quite good English, and that means that for you to get a band 9, so for somebody who wants to get a band 8.59 on the IELTS exam, and this isn't just for the speaking, but it's also for the listening, reading, and the writing sections, you have to be able to interpret information. So when I sat the real IELTS exam, I did the real IELTS exam about a year ago, there were some words and some information that wasn't 100% clear for me either. With all my university and all my English experience, it was still new information, but I was able to understand it from context using logical thinking and English, right? Just like you did. So you figured it out. Okay, it means having a sense of beauty from when we're born. Innate means to be born with it. So a born with feeling of beauty. Okay, so just because you might not understand the question, don't right away, don't give up. Your first step should always be to buy a bit of time, just like Baljit did. So please give me a moment to think. Please, it's a good question, or it's a unique question. It's an interesting question.
Okay.
Please allow me a moment to think.
Should I continue?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you again, and then you can answer the question. Here we go. Do you believe that human beings have an innate sense of beauty?
Yes, I do believe that human beings have the sense of beauty from when they're born. Because if you look around the world, you will see that people are engaging them in different artworks. Not only artworks, they are like expressing their artworks through emotions, then through different sculptures, writings, poetry, or through different physical objects. This is how they're expressing, and it's not about
How is this shown in society?
Okay. How is this shown in society? Oh, okay, let me continue. It is shown by it is shown in different ways. It might be through artworks. It might be through arrangements of different occasions. This might be another one, or it might be through expressions. It might be through feelings. This is how it is shown. One of the examples could be a poetry written by Shakespeare. This is how he expressed his writing, like working with the words, and expressed his feelings and emotions.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I'm going to stop there. No, it's okay. It's totally fine. All right, so your thinking is correct. Your answer could be better. So just like with Kevin, I think you've been in the class for most of it, so you might have heard Kevin's response as well. You're not having too much trouble with the English. You're having a bit more trouble with the content. And
Yes.
content is king. There's a saying in business, there's saying in social media, content is king. If you have the right content, you get popular, you make money, people love you, and people agree with you, and you change the world and you change people's minds. So content is king, right? So you have to really work to get the right content. You now understood the question. You realize that it talks about being born with the ability for beauty. Now, I would argue with you. So if you and I are sitting in a coffee shop, I would say, well, I think that, thinking that a painting or a sculpture or even music is beautiful is kind of something that we maybe learn from our friends, from our parents, from society. But there are other examples where most people would think, hey, that's really beautiful, without anybody telling them that it's beautiful. What would be an example where people would look at it and say, wow, that's really beautiful, without somebody teaching them that this painting, the Mona Lisa, people think is beautiful. So where do people find beauty that's not learned beauty?
It's because it pop-ups in their heart. They feel it from their heart.
What would be an example of it? So give me an example of innate beauty versus learned beauty. Maybe somebody in the chat is giving us some help here, maybe.
Learned beauty can be one of the things, like we are arranging the room.
Yes, so what would be inborn or innate beauty? Think about Baljit's answer.
Okay, it's about the nature.
Yeah, so I would say that a lot of the innate beauty that we tend to all agree on as humans, we see in nature. So when you show 1,000 people a beautiful sunset, most likely all, or maybe 999 of those 1,000 people will say, yeah, that's a beautiful sunset, right? So nature gives us a sense of beauty without learning about beauty. Where else do we see beauty? Think about humans.
Like expressing themselves in a beautiful ways through through images, like drawings, paintings. This is what you were asking for?
Not quite. I'm thinking simply. I'm thinking, again, simple thoughts. So try to think simple. When you're in the IELTS, even if the question seems very complicated, the answer is usually something fairly simple. It's right in front of you. You just have to see it. So innate sense of beauty we find in nature. And we find that in a landscape, mountains, trees, in a sunset, a beautiful bird like a peacock. And we also find it among ourselves, other humans. We tend to have a certain preference for a partner in life. So looking at another human, a girl or a boy, we find beautiful. And it's not because somebody necessarily tells us that that person's beautiful, but because we feel that that person's beautiful, right? Or looking at a baby, for example, a puppy, a puppy dog, right? A lot of us will say, you probably won't find too many people who say that a puppy is ugly, right? So a puppy dog. So those are good examples of innate beauty. Do you want to try to answer this question one more time?
Okay, let me try one more time.
Yeah, here we go. Do you believe that human beings have an innate sense of beauty?
Yes, I do believe that human beings have an innate sense of beauty. They try to, like, there are some kinds of things, when they look at it at the first sight, they feel okay. Almost 99% of the people will say that, okay, these are beautiful, suppose like the landscapes, which is landscapes, or it might be, sorry, I can't continue, I'm feeling
Or it
demotivated.
might be a puppy dog.
Yeah, or newborn babies.
And that's it. And then just stop. Just stop. Don't overtalk. Just stop. So it's top or newborn babies, and then just stop there, right? And you're done. So you've given an answer, an explanation. I loved how you used that number, 99%. I did really like how you said in your first answer that human beings have a sense of beauty from when they are born. You define the word innate, and that also tells me that you have good lexical resource because you know the word innate. Okay, so that's what you want to do. I will give you the answer at a band 9 level and then just repeat after me. Yes, I do believe that human beings have a sense of beauty from when they are born. They do not need to learn that a landscape is beautiful or that a newborn baby is beautiful. They have this feeling from the start. Okay, do you believe that human beings have an innate sense of beauty?
Yes, I do believe that human beings have the sense of beauty when they are born. They don't have to learn that the landscapes are beautiful or the newborn babies are beautiful. It's what they get from their first sight. It's what they feel from the first sight.
Perfect. Either way would have been okay. Careful not to correct yourself when you're not making a mistake.
Okay.
So that was good. Okay, that's what you need to do. So just like with Kevin, very, very similar, and this is a very common situation with candidates who have good English, who have a high level of English, is that your English is fine. You've got a lot of words, you've got a lot of grammar, you've practiced a lot. So focus on content. Review your content and really target those kind of easy answers, okay?
Okay. What could be my minimum band score? Because maybe from today onwards I will try practicing because I have got a month before I sit for.
So I think your minimum band score in the speaking would be a 7.5. Depending on the topics in the examiner, you could get an 8 right now. But with good practice and identifying the best content for your answers, I think you can get as high as an 8.5, maybe even a 9, okay?
Okay, I will try my best.
All right, that's awesome. I'm sure you will do great. Keep coming back here. Look for other students to practice with. So for example, for you, Kevin would be a great practice partner. He's about at your level, and I think you could learn a lot from each other. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, Maimuna, have a great rest of your day in Qatar.
Thank you.
Bye for now. All right, everyone. So that was Maimuna, and what a great way to finish for today. Students, we will have more speaking tomorrow, and that will actually be, if you want, it can be with video chat, so you can even share your camera with me. I'll show you where that is. That's on Lighthall. Okay, so we're going to use Lighthall. Lighthall is a brand new platform for live teaching. I will copy this into the chat here for us. So let me just grab that, and oh, there we go. I've copied it twice, so it's just slow to copy. All right, so join me on Lighthall. That class is going to be a little bit later. Okay, there you go. Students, lots more speaking next week. Keep up with the live classes. Follow us on the channel. Subscribe. Hit the bell button so that you're getting notifications. Thank you so much, volunteers. I know it takes a lot of courage and bravery to share your voice and share yourself in these live chats, but hey, that's how you improve and that's how you gain confidence. So good for you to do that. Students, make sure to visit us and join our premium IELTS package at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. That's what we were using today. We were using aehelp.com for this speaking, for this chat. gieltshelp.com has the same. The chat integrates on both websites. So Thank you so much. Eugen, thank you for those happy emojis to finish the day. Much love to all of you wherever you are in our big, beautiful world, whether it's Vietnam or Qatar or India. I hope you have an awesome rest of your night and a great day tomorrow. Bye, everybody.